We are back for season 2 of the Combat Zone, and we have our first reappearing guest. One of my favorite guests from last season. We have undefeated BKFC featherweight, Nathan the Reaper Rivera. Thank you for coming back on, sir. How are you doing?
I'm good, bro. Thanks for having me back on, dude. I had such a good time last time on the show. So I was happy to see your message about jumping back on, man. I'm doing great, dude. I'm doing great. It's pretty cold over here in Georgia. We had like a little warm spell for a week, and we're back to like 30 something, 40-degree weather. So probably not as cold where you're at, but
No, it's
you know,
not cold right now, but we just got a foot of snow in the last 3 days, so it's nice
God,
and
okay,
nice and piled up. Georgia would shut
okay.
down if they saw this.
Oh, dude, it'd be over with, bro. We'd be starving in our houses.
But since we've last talked, there's been some big stuff happening in your life and in BKFC. First, I wanted to talk about congratulations. You won the NFC Bare Knuckle Fighter of the Year. What was it
Absolutely.
like being able to be recognized and celebrate with people from your hometown and home area and just be recognized for your efforts of the past year?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome, man. I mean, the NFC is it's the local show. I had my debut there, had my amateur debut there, I had my amateur or my professional debut there. I've fought, you know, in, I've actually, for MMA, I have only fought in Muay Thai as well. I fought in NFC, and then I've fought like different boxing organizations, but mainly NFC and BKFC. So I don't like it's pretty like and all the staff is great. Like Jesse, the matchmaker, David is the owner, and like all the staff, they're really cool. So it was nice to see um, that I got awarded knockout of the year for 2024 Critics Choice, and then bare knuckle fighter of the year in Critics Choice as well. So it was cool to see. Like I don't know who judges it, but in the past I think I've won like Fans Choice. So it was cool to see like Critics Choice one, getting some of those, like the local shows to recognize where I've moved on to the next level, and it's cool for them to recognize it. And I'm there like every other weekend, cornering the guys, cornering all the up and coming fighters and stuff like that. So it was awesome, man. It's always a good time. Like it's a good opportunity to shout out like the sponsors and the people who support me and stuff like that. Overall, it was great.
Yeah, ATT Team Lima, they've been running NFC for a little while now. You
Yeah,
guys, every card is Team Lima, Team Lima, Team Lima. And it's
yeah,
great. See you there all the time too.
yeah. It's like, man, we had another guy. We had this one guy. We always get these people that like start their career, maybe they have a rocky amateur record and they go like, okay, like I need to be at it better. Like it's always comes to a point in people's career where sometimes they start with us, but a lot of the time these people are like on this road and they just realize like what we have to offer is different than anyone else. And it happened with me as well. I think I was um going to like I had done all my boxing fights and a lot of my amateur fights, and then I came to ATT when I think I was like 2-3 as an amateur, and then I had just um, lost like a title fight, and I was like, I need to like. It was about an hour from me, but I was like, I need to go to the next level, and I went with Brantley, and since I've been with Brantley, I've gone 5-1 with one split decision loss. So it's just I was telling this guy that he was thinking about switching over this morning, and he's from another gym, like right around the same area. And I just said, dude, you walk into the gym, and if you're a 35er, you have 25ers, 35ers, and 45ers, probably like 15 to 20 athletes on the mat that are active competitors to get rounds with. So I was like, it's just there's so many bodies. The coaching is great. It's really in Georgia. It's the best place to be.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I haven't been able to come down there, but the gym looks great. And like you said, NFC putting on some of your favorite shows down there. Just from a streaming perspective, watching it, it looks like it has some of the best venues for spectators down there. It looks very unique. And moving on to the BKFC stuff, Knucklemania took place on January 25th. A massive card for the promotion. Sold out 17,000 spectators. That is massive for BKFC. It just
Oh,
shows
it's huge.
it just shows how high you guys are going right now. You guys are skyrocketing to compete with every major boxing organization. And on top of that, you had Ben Rothwell, Wisconsin native, win the heavyweight belt in 19 seconds against the
Crazy.
defending champ. What was that like
Crazy.
watching it for you?
I mean, so I wish I could have been there to watch it live. I was catching it on the phone, unfortunately, because I had a teammate fighting. He went 5-1. He won his fifth professional fight at the NFC, Mike Bardsley. And I was in his corner and helping him. So I really wanted to be at the fights, but I had to stay home. But dude, I mean, it was like I was texting my manager. I was like, because he was at the fights, I was like, bro, this is like I want to be on one of these cards. Like 17, I think it was 17,800 something people in attendance, and they broke all these records, like biggest combat sports gate in that arena, biggest combat sports attendance, I think, in that arena. Like it was a lot of big milestones, and the fights were incredible. I mean, it was banger fights all around. I didn't see a lot of fights that were like, oh, that was boring. And there's not
What
many
was the
boring
one?
BKFC fights in general. And I remember, so right before my fight, I'm like ready to walk out in Atlanta, and I'm like ready to go. And then I'm like, what is going on? What is taking so long? And it was Ben Rothwell and Nick Terrell doing their like face off thing. And I was like, what is happening? Like, I'm ready to go fight. So it was cool to see them. Like, I was able to talk to both of them in Atlanta, and then to see, Ben win that fight in very quick. I mean, that was one of those knockouts where you're like, bro, check
That's
on him.
scary.
Yeah, like I mean, just the way he fell, and that's like heavyweight power. That's different, man. I'm like the size of Ben's leg, so
I
he
know
can generate some.
you've met him. I just met him for the first time this week. His hands and just him in
Bro.
general are so large. He's like a giant from Game of Thrones. It's
Oh
insane.
yeah, dude. So I saw him in the back, and I was like, I shook his hand. I said, "Hey, man, I'm a fan of yours." And I shook his hand. I said, "Bro, your hand is huge." I literally said. He just started laughing. I was like, "Bro, your hand is massive. Like
That was the
that
first thing I
thing."
said to him.
Bro, he was like the size of my face. Like if he punched me, I'd break my neck in half. Like it was not. Yeah, bro. So, and I saw you were up there at the gym, the opening of his, I forget what it's called, Ben Rothwell MMA, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, dude. It's like that's awesome, man. He's opened up his own gym over there, and it's like it's
And
pretty
it's
cool. He's
nice.
giving back. Is it really?
Yeah, it's real nice. The downstairs, great cage, little Rothwell MMA promotion right here. They had a great half cage downstairs and an upstairs dedicated to grappling. It's really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, and that's so cool, man. Because I know he puts a lot of time into his craft. So for him to have a spot of his own is it's pretty awesome to see.
Yeah, and like you said, you wish you could have been there live. You met him when you were in Atlanta when you were fighting. There's a lot of BKFC cards coming up right now. There's three in America. We had Hollywood, Florida. We have Philly. We have Albuquerque. I know you were looking to get on some of those and it couldn't happen. I know one of your goals for this year is to fight abroad, fight international.
Yeah,
The three cards after that, they're all international. It's Manchester. There's Dubai. 2 days. It's back to back. And the featherweight championship is on the line for one of those fights. Are you looking to get on any of those cards right now?
dude, I would love to, man. Like there's some talks of me going out. I don't think I'll be able to jump on any of those cards unless I get something short notice. But right now we're in the talks for something like when is it? I guess it's in May and it's in the States. So I'm in talks to get on one of those cards. I've also been in talks to possibly go out to Canada and fight and different stuff like that. So I'm kind of just waiting. Like I don't really sometimes things happen for a reason where you really want to get on this card and God has other plans and you gotta, even if you don't understand it, you're like, all right, I gotta just keep doing what I'm doing. And that's I guess that's the beauty of like training year round and keeping your diet year round is because you don't have to worry about like, oh man, am I gonna be ready? Like it's so funny. People always say like, what do you do to get ready for a fight? And I'm like, my schedule doesn't really change. Like my calorie intake changes and like the very specific techniques that I do change, but like the schedule stays the same, Monday through Friday and Saturday mornings. So it's like, it's one of those things where if they called me, I would love to be on it. I would really love to watch that featherweight fight live. I know Tommy Stratum is, I saw a lot of like people were not happy about that matchup. I don't know if you were watching some of the like more hardcore BKFC fans, like they were like Tommy Stratum is unranked, and he's getting the shot. Brandon Allen is ranked number one. They talked about him fighting Dan Chapman for like the number one contender fight, and it sounds like they've said that to him a couple times, oh, this will be a number one contender fight, and he hasn't gotten it. Um, Tommy Stratum is one of those guys that I called out. Like when I was doing this walk back from the ring to the locker room after my last fight. Um, and I would love to get that fight, but he got really blessed with that opportunity. So I don't blame him for taking it. No matter how many people are upset that he got that opportunity, they're probably a little mad they didn't get it themselves.
Yeah, and like you said, it's everything happens for a reason. He might be getting this fight. It's lucky. Now, just from a fan's perspective, you've called him out. If he gets this fight or gets this fight and loses, you and him link up. That I think
Yeah.
that's a easy way
Yeah.
to get right back to the top.
Man, and
And not
there's a
get
lot
back to
of
the top, just get up there.
yeah, I mean that's I called out a couple guys, Tommy Stratum's 4-0. I called him out. Edgar Plazaola, he's 4-0. I called him out. There's another guy named Robert out of Canada. He's 2-0. I called him out. Like I want these fights that will push me to that next level, and there's a lot of featherweights, and so like I really want to fight guys. If it was up to me, I would fight those people in order, like just fight all the undefeated guys and kind of get to that next level. Maybe like skyrocket me up there a little bit quicker than if I were to take some of these guys who are 0-2, 0-3, or whatever.
No, 100%. For me, a dream matchup, ranked number 5 right now, Jimmy Rivera, former UFC fighter. It would be Rivera on Rivera violence, which might not be
Yeah,
great. But I asked you last time, if you get the opportunity to fight one of those older MMA vets who are established and transferred over to the sport, or like you're wanting to call out, and I really respect this, the undefeated BKFC came straight in and have been going to work for it. What do you like more? And I think I'm going to know your answer, but you like calling out or trying to fight the BKFC straight guys, or
I,
do you want to try to fight the crossovers?
I mean, the crossovers are cool, but like so to think about, put it in perspective, right? Like Jimmy Rivera. Well, first of all, that'd be a wonderful like stylistic matchup. I think it'd be awesome. Like a long, taller guy versus like a short, stocky, like really good on the inside guy. Like I think that'd be an awesome fight for the fans. It's like the classic get on the inside or stay on the outside kind of fight. And it's one of those fights where it's like this is my fifth. That would be my fifth professional fight. That would be his like 40th or 50th
Yeah.
professional fight. But there's something so cool about BKFC where it's so different. It's
It's brand
really,
new.
really
Nobody has done it for a very long time.
it's crazy, man. It's one of those things where you get like a big time boxing vet or like a MMA vet, and then you put them in the squared circle and things are different. So like if I had to choose between like a big name or a BKFC grown person, if the big name was attached to a big money, then I'd be more interested in that.
No, 100%. And I know you said you're looking at something in the States right now, but
Yeah,
if you were to fight anywhere in the world, abroad or in the United States, you fought it in Atlanta. I feel like that must have been a bucket list item.
yeah,
Where else would be your bucket list destination to fight?
man. I mean, I would really like to fight. Personally, like I would like to fight in Florida. I fought there once, but I want to fight specifically in the Hard Rock, and I want to fight a like a favorite, like a hometown favorite. Like I really want to go in and kind of go into someone's backyard, man. Go burn the boats and kind of take over where they're at. Again, Edgar Plazaola would be a perfect one for that. He's 4-0. He's and like we have all these guys 4-0, 4-0. I'm 3-0, and like we're all kind of waiting at the end of that top five and who's gonna break into the top five. And the rankings they're more about like who have you fought and who you have wins over. So that's why I'm shooting for these guys that are all undefeated because I think it'll shoot me up there. But I would love to go fight in someone's backyard. Like I think that's fun. That's something I haven't been used to. I fought in BKFC. I fought once in Florida against someone else. They weren't from Florida. I fought in Virginia. They weren't from Virginia, and then I fought hometown, and it was like a pretty big favorite in all of them. So I'd love to be like the underdog for a change, and go to someone else's, come out to some people are booing me and stuff like that. Another place I'd like to fight is Colorado. I think that'd be really cool just because like I want to go to Colorado personally.
You have
And
to
I
go
also
out
want to
there a little
test.
early though. You'd have to
Yeah.
prepare yourself.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is I want to see how I fight like under that those conditions, with the elevation and all that. And I've looked into like these sleep tents that you can do to like somehow it messes with your elevation. I don't know how it works, but you like sleep with your body like halfway in it. And I just really want to test that side of me just to see what it's like. I haven't experienced that yet.
No, 100%. I love it. You're looking for the challenges. I think that's a
Yeah.
commendable thing to do as a fighter. You see a lot of people trying to duck and weave their way to
Yeah.
the top, you know?
And it's, right now I'm like early in my career. I'm 3-0. I don't want the first time that I'm fighting for a title to be in this kind of like in a situation where I'm not used to, like I want to get through a bunch of firefights. I want to fight more vets. I want to fight more up and coming. Like I want to be fully battle tested so that when I get to that point of fighting for a title that I'll just you'll be another day in the office.
No, I agree. I think that's great. I think that's a great mentality to have, especially in a brutal sport like this. You want to prove yourself and go to the top.
Yeah.
And lastly here, I know that the BKFC will never come to Chicago. Our commission stinks.
Does it really? Okay. I don't
Hey,
know. Yeah.
nobody comes. The UFC can't. When APFC has it, we go to Hammond. It's right across the border in Indiana,
Okay.
from Milwaukee. But BKFC's been doing a little coastal circle around the United States. I'm waiting for one of these Midwest cards. I know you've been to North Dakota, but that's the North. That's still too far.
Yeah.
If one of these Midwest cards to happen, what do you think would be the best place to have it? And I already have an idea for the headliner. I think Jeremy Stevens would have to be on it, being from Iowa.
Yeah. No doubt. I mean, oh, man, it's hard to say, dude. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time. So I kind of like I was born in Southern California, so I'm kind of on that side. Moved to Georgia and spent some time around here. But I mean, I think you put Jeremy Stevens headline to anything, and
It'll be
it's
great.
it's a banger. You know what I mean? But they get down, dude. Some of those like Midwest like
Oh,
states,
it's
bro.
rowdy.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, you get these some like blue collar workers that
You got the
just,
Packers, you got the
oh
Bears,
yeah,
you got the I'm blanking right now, Kansas City Chiefs. We got a lot of rowdy people down there. Now
yeah.
that I'm talking about it, I think you guys should go to Iowa, have Jeremy Stevens headline in his hometown. I think that would be nuts. They don't have any professional sports.
Yeah, and I think there's only two. I'm pretty sure bare knuckle is legal in everywhere but two places, and I think it's Las Vegas and New York. I think those are the only two states that are not legal. So they really can go wherever, and I think it's all about like finding the fighters to pump the tickets. So like my last fight, man, it was not I don't want to say exciting, but it wasn't packed out. They picked a really big venue. Um, I did my part in like selling my tickets, but there was like the stands were like not as full, and I understand they wanted like that big wow factor for the big venue at the Gas South Arena. Um, but they only gave us there was a lot of like a hiccups with the ticket sales, so I only had like 3.5 weeks to sell tickets. Um, Everybody had 3.5 weeks, so they're talking about coming back here, but it's all about like who can sell some tickets, and luckily I was the top ticket seller in Atlanta, so I kind of like guaranteed my spot back and that's all I wanted to do. Like, of course, the extra money is cool, but like guaranteeing my spot back on a card if they come back to Atlanta was my priority. Um, but like we got to just have some more people that sell tickets. So like if Iowa, if they can crank out some tickets and they can pack that place out, BKFC will start going back. Like that's why Hollywood is so um it's BKFC friendly because
Yeah,
everybody's there.
everybody
They sell
loves it. It's
tickets.
a
Yeah,
violent culture down there. You got
and they
the all
yeah,
the
straight
no,
up.
I'm saying the gyms. Like you got Kill Cliff, you got
Yeah.
American Top Team, you got Fusion Excel in Orlando. The whole state is filled with killers.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's one of those things. I think BKFC really like blossomed in Florida. So they've had the most shows there. So the fans are the most they're familiar with it. They know how it gets down. Like if they were to put that same effort into somewhere like Georgia, the same thing would happen. You know what I'm saying? It just takes time, and BKFC is one of the dude. It's growing like crazy, man. I was talking to Nate Shook the other day, and he was saying he is matching shows. He's matching 13 shows. So 13 shows. Let's just say which is like an average, I'd say 12 bouts. Okay, so you have 12 bouts, which means that's 24 fighters times what 12, 13 shows. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of fighters. That's a lot of different management groups. So like they're growing so fast. And Dave Feldman talks about like them hiring people all the time to speed this process up. But dude, it's like every weekend there's a BKFC fight. Like every single weekend. Like this weekend, I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. There's nothing. And then I looked at the schedule and there was like one next week, then the week after, then the week after. So it's good for me as a fighter. Yeah, it's awesome. But they start dividing it that way and just pumping in. Like I like what they did with Florida. If they did that for another state, just kept going back and developing it there, I think it'd be really smart.
Yeah, next time they come to Georgia, that'll be my reason to come down and visit. I think that'll
Bro,
first time going down there. I think that's a perfect reason why.
absolutely, man. I dude, and hopefully like I've never really cared about like, oh, I want a main event or I want to be the co-main event, like whatever. I don't really care. Honestly, if I could prefer it, I'd be fight number one. You know what I mean? So I can go fight and I can go hang out with my people. But I think, obviously promotionally, it's better to be later on the card and stuff like that. So last time I was right before the featured fight, and so the last one before featured co-main and main. So I think this time, if we get a good name, it'll be like maybe a co-main. So you'll be able to really experience like a Atlanta crowd, man, because they Atlanta crowds, they like fighting.
No, I'm sure I would be excited, but I'm not
Yeah,
going to take any more of your time. Thank you for coming back onto the combat zone. I appreciate it, sir. Is there anything you want to shout out or anything?
man. I mean, dude, thanks for having me back, dude. It's cool to watch the channel and see how it's growing and stuff like that, and I'm happy to be part of it, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.